Okay, so we were just talking about which one was John's lie, and getting to know John a little bit better. And obviously you put the video on there just a little bit ago to show us the one that didn't quite have all the information in there, but that you dove off a 50-meter platform into a small pond where only my head and shoulders went into the water. So you know what, that might have been a key. Had I looked at that, I didn't catch that, the wording, only your head and shoulders went into the water. That I didn't catch that.
Back out. I didn't say what pulled me back out.
Yeah. So anyway, anybody got any questions for John on his truths?
Kamal thought it was the chair, the air chair.
Well, these are all pretty good.
Who don't know what an air chair is? It's built with a kind of a ski underneath, a wide ski like this wide. And underneath it has a hydroplane about 4 feet long in the shape of a airplane on the bottom. So you have to be, if you lift too high, you're gonna come out of the water, fly like this. And if you go down too low, you'll do a face plant.
Yeah.
Which I've done both.
You know what I've seen recently, and I don't know if you've seen them before, but they now have I don't know what they're called, but they're basically electric surfboards with that same concept under them. So was able to see people on electric surfboards just scooting all over the bays when we were down in the Bahamas or in the Caribbean. And I'm like, I gotta get one of those. Then I looked at it, and they're like $13,000, the cheapest one. So I'm like, okay, I'm not getting one right now.
They have them also on wakeboards.
Yeah.
I seen one go by me when I was kayaking. Says, what was that? I just saw it out of the corner of my eye, and it was a guy on a wakeboard with some kind of contraption under there, right? That just went like a board.
Yep. All right. Well, anybody got any questions? Like I said, any questions or comments for John?
Did you say number 4 was the lie?
Yeah.
Oh, yay, I got it right.
I never out of the airplane.
All right. So, okay. Well, how about mine? Anybody know which one of those was a lie?
Was anybody right that gave an answer?
Yeah, actually several people were right.
So which one was it?
Which one's the lie, Gil?
That I built a bomb in chemistry class and blew up my teacher's desk. That's the lie.
Oh, that sounded so like you.
What did you say? That sounded like me.
That sounded like something you would do.
Well, I can tell you 2 other things that I did in that chemistry class is my buddy and I, we took the plate off of the electrical socket and we pulled them out, and this was during class, and we're both sitting there, and we dropped a pin over the 2 wires, the 2 hot wires, and it started a fire. we both ran. It caused the fire alarm to go off, a crazy bunch of stuff. But anyway, then the other thing is I was bad. My buddy and I were the 2 worst people in junior high school. So I mean, again, I've turned so many corners to get where I'm at today. But we would stand at the back, and when we had BBs. Do you know what BBs are?
BB gun?
Like a BB gun. So
Yeah.
they're little bitty metal balls, and we'd take those to school and we'd pour them in a piece of paper, and then we'd wad the paper up. And then when the teacher got up to write on the chalkboard, tells you how long it's been, he'd get up to write on the chalkboard. So he'd be facing with his back to us, and we'd both stand up from the back of the room. We threw those to hit at the top of where he was at above him. And so all these BBs would come down over the top of him. So we were little monsters. Yeah,
Did you ever get expelled?
my buddy did. And I was with him right when it happened. It was so crazy because the one thing he got expelled over was something he didn't do. Neither, I didn't either. So it was, but that's what I mean, it's not probably, it's what calmed me down because I no longer had my buddy in crime. And so probably was a good thing because I could have been in a whole lot of trouble by high school if that guy had, if we'd been in school together, but he got expelled and honestly, I didn't see him again.
He never got, he did got a permanent expulsion or? Wow,
Yeah.
they don't do that very often.
Well,
give
that
him-
was back in the day.
A few days expulsion, so they get the message.
Yeah, well, he had had several of those and
Several
and
warnings.
then he finally got just permanently expelled. Okay, anyway, that's that. Any other questions? And we'll move on here.
Yes, I'd like to know what you did when you outran the cops. Why were you running away from the cops?
I did a lot of that because I would sneak out at night. My parents didn't know that I was leaving the house. I would jump off the roof. I'd go out my window and jump off the roof, and I would just go roam the town. I oftentimes would break into the high school and I'd write stuff on the boards. Never really did any damage, but just crazy stuff like that. And then the cops would see me because they had a curfew in our town. Couldn't be out after 10 if you were under 18, and so but I dressed in black, hood and everything. And the closest I ever got to getting caught was a cop car kept going around this block and I was stuck in that block and I was running from, side to side, trying to get an opening where I could get across the street and keep going. And I finally got it by finding a truck, and I could get that far across the street before the cop got back around. So I slid under the truck and I pulled myself up on the drive shaft and just hung there until the cop car went by, and then I dropped down and took off. So that was the closest I got to getting caught. But that continued into my teenage years where I also outran him twice in a vehicle. So that was interesting times. So until the Lord got a hold of me when I was about 21, 22 years old, I was quite a mischievous person.
A handful.
Yep. Any other questions or comments? Okay, well, let's shift gears majorly. And let's go see what the Father's doing. So, Hadassah, you want to lead us in?
There's Martha. Let's wait for Martha. Martha, can you
She's
hear
actually
us?
calling me. Let me see
Oh,
here.
she's gone, but she's on the.
Hello?
Hello.
Awesome. Yeah, we saw you pop up. Okay, well, come on in and join us. We're just getting ready to ascend. All right, glad you made it. All right. Yeah, she's been having technical problems, so. So Martha, can you hear us? And if you can, you're muted. There she
you
is.
are.
There she is.
Mm.
Woo! All right. So we were just about to ascend, Martha, and we stopped to get you on.
Yes.
All right. So Hadassah, go ahead.
Okay. Now that we're all here, take a couple people. It's just focus on Jesus, whoever you want to focus on. I always like to start with breathing deep. Just take a deep breath. Get our minds, our thoughts focused. Lord. Thank you, Lord. Father, as we come together in this group, Father, we enter into the heavenly realms. Just take us where you want to take us this morning. I personally want to see Jesus. So just bring us all in unity, Lord. spirit, soul, and body. We should surrender our imagination, holy imagination, to you. Thank you, Lord. I personally saw myself right away sitting. I've been pressing in these few days, wanting to see my mountain. And I keep saying, Lord, I want to see the seat that you have for me in that mountain. So for me, I just saw myself sitting in that mountain.
Mm.
So anybody else has anything to share?
I just have an overall sense of his desire for us to see and understand our oneness, the oneness
Yeah.
of this group, the oneness with nature, oneness with all things. And that's not in a new age way, but just understanding that we are all energy, even though we have our individualism, but just to understand that the beauty of it.
Yeah, my sense is that he wants us even more than we want to see. He wants us in the heavenly realms. He wants us
Mm.
to be up there with him. You know, and some people say they go inwardly. So it's either way, you know, you might go inwardly in you, talk about the oneness, or you can ascend. However, the Lord leads you to do that. But is this place with him? He's opening up for us to engage with. Oh.
I just got this flash of a picture of the leadership potential that's in this group. Each of you as individuals leading in wonderful ways, leading people closer and into the depths of Father's heart. Hmm.
Mm. I just feel like newness, like a new thing. You know, I feel, you know, this I see brightness, newness is like a new beginning, and I'm thinking, you know, and I'm just going. It's just the month 8th of August, the 8th. It's just like in the beginnings, you know, for many of us in many ways. But it's like he wants us to be sensitive, you know. It's not the same old. It's like it's not. It's different. I just don't know how to. It's this the sense of newness, and I hope it resonates with some of you, all of us, whatever. But just to be in this place of expectancy from God, and whatever that looks like for each of you.
When we entered in, I had a real new agey picture in my mind
Mhm.
of like a hub with multicolored flashing lights
Mm.
and spokes coming out in all directions with more of these hubs. And initially I didn't know what on earth this is, but it's this whole sense of connection. And I hear you, Hadassah, on the newness, because I'm feeling that. And I'm also experiencing that we have to be so flexible and that we have to be so adjustable. I'm part of a group of people that I feel as if they're on the brink of breakthrough into the new.
Mm.
And the two people, they all of them, professional people, attached to university, none of them are full-time in the leadership. They all have businesses. And the people that started the group and are basically the leaders, they are taking a 6 weeks sabbatical to hear where God is taking us.
Mm.
And that's where I have to be flexible, because we don't really operate in the prophetic in the old sense. But the only way I could bring across to them what I felt God had in my heart for the group was in a prophetic word, because that's what they can receive.
Mhm. Mhm.
And it was so well received.
Mhm.
And it makes me feel so excited.
Mhm.
There's a handful of people that have discovered Liz, what is Liz?
Liz Wright.
Liz Wright, Justin Abrams. So there's a handful of people that are exploring, but nobody speaks up or speaks out. So yes, the new, and for more people to discover the new, for more people to step into it. And for us that are these hubs to have wisdom in how we deal with people that's not entered in properly yet.
Yeah. So good.
As you were talking, Marilee, and going kind of along with what Gil shared also, it's like, I see us in this group and we are all pioneers.
Yes.
We are all pioneers, and that's how he wants us to see ourselves. This is a period of growth, and just being in this group as an Ekklesia, God is doing something in our hearts, in our minds, and he's positioning us again in that place of identity. To me, that's why I want to write this book about identity. It just keeps coming up. It's like it's all about identity and how we see ourselves and how he wants us to see ourselves. So anyway, so here this group is part of that growing up and maturing as sons and becoming this new what do they call it? New creation. Anyway, I'm getting all this stuff, so I'm just speaking it out. So all of us, he's encouraging us to grow up in his love, in his identity. And this is the season to do that. each of us.
Yeah.
You know, whatever level, whatever atmosphere, whatever place God has you, there's a place for growth.
Mhm.
Yeah. Anybody else? Whatever picture, you know, whatever thought, don't think it's you, just share it with us. You know, whatever you get, encourage you. Share what you sensing.
I'm just thinking about what Paul said about himself as an apostle, that he was a bottom rower. He rowed in the bottom of the boat where he wasn't even noticed or seen. And it's that whole sense of leading from behind, not as a lead figure, not being seen by everybody, but carrying the presence, carrying the revelation. And just because we, like Gil said when we started, we're energy. And our frequency, that which we carry, goes out to people, whether we know it or not. People receive it.
Mhm. Mhm. Hmm. You know, it's interesting. I just feel like Father gave this a little bit of revelation, but again, in the frequency charts, you'll see that love is in the frequency below joy, and joy is below peace. So you can't get to peace without first going through love and joy. And, you know, when we get to a place of peace, I guess that's what I look for anymore. I look for people that I sense that frequency of peace. It's like they're further along the journey than anyone who's arrived at joy, which is a great place. There's a lot of joy in their life, and you can see that, and that's an awesome place. And to learn to love, you have to learn to love before you can even get to that place of joy, where you can just enjoy everything around you that is good and beautiful, and you can still get through even the challenges. But to arrive at peace is that you're not bubbling around with joy everywhere all the time. You've got it, but you're maybe not necessarily always displaying it, but you're at peace, you're at rest. And it just was occurring to me, I guess, that yeah, when we can get to that place of peace, then we also have gone through love and joy to get there. And I feel that. I mean, not perfectly by far, but I feel that. And I certainly feel it a whole lot more than I ever have in my life. And it's just a beautiful place to be. So, Father, thank you for that. And I pray that each and every one of us continue that journey to go through those different levels to reach the perfect place of peace and rest with you. And to me, that is a level of perfected love. And I imagine there's a zillion levels to go.
Mhm.
Gil, you mentioned joy and love, and it's got me thinking about I had to get to a place of knowing how to love people or loving people by a decision. And then I realized that I have joy. I don't, peace is still quite elusive because the Lord keeps telling me I need to enter rest. But today I was walking in town and I remembered 2 weeks ago when the Lord told me to smile as I walk in the streets. It was really, really hard because in my head I'm thinking, people think I'm crazy. Yeah, thankfully I was not alone. Yeah, but it brought me to that. It has reminded me of that.
Yeah. Good. Good.
You know what I just sensed when you were speaking, Liz, that as you were walking, smiling, in your perception was that you were crazy. You know what I felt was happening? You were releasing a frequency, just like Marilyn was saying, you're releasing a frequency as you walked in the atmosphere. That's what was happening. So I just feel like the Father wants you to see yourself as a carrier of frequency. That frequency when you smile.
I agree.
Don't think that they're thinking that you're crazy. Like, no. How about crazy frequencies of joy? Have that as you smile on the street. I don't know how your city is, but I can imagine that they need people on the streets releasing frequencies. Okay, I don't know, just a thought for you.
Amen.
I agree. I actually agree with you because I think I was having a conversation with Holy Spirit, or he was speaking to me and I didn't hear. I didn't submit because there was that conflict of there's something you're releasing to the people. Smile. Stop thinking about what they're thinking. So I agree. Thank you very much.
So good. You know, it is amazing how our brains are programmed for the drama. And you know, even this morning, someone called me early this morning, and I won't go into the whole story, but you know, they called me to give me praise and honor for things that I've done, you know, in the ministry and so forth. And I was shocked that as I'm listening to this person honoring me, my brain went down to all the people who I've done the same for who haven't honored me. And when I caught that, I'm like, what in the world? Why is my brain shifted to go down that road and not just simply focus? And I refocused. I'm like, let's get back to what's going on right now, that this person is honoring me, and that I would pay attention and receive that honor and that blessing versus going down the road of all the people who didn't. And it's just like, that's ridiculous. And yet that's our brains oftentimes, that we have to stop them from going down those roads. And it's a retraining because we've all been programmed to focus on the negative for whatever reason. But we can retrain and transform and transfigure our way of thinking to where we come back to. And again, I've been spending the last few days writing, you know, chapters on choosing a good life. And choosing a good life means stop choosing the crap. You know, we tend to choose stuff that it's like, that doesn't do me any good. So, you know, for me, it's just like, stop, just
Yeah.
stop. It's, for me, it's ridiculous to go down those roads. Shift and focus on the beauty of the here and now and enjoy it. Love it and enjoy it and be at peace with the things that are, rather than focusing on the things that in most cases they just aren't. They aren't even there, but we think about, well, what if, or, you know, or we hold a grudge, and none of it does us any good. And so we can choose a good life by simply focusing to choose to focus on the good things around us. It's gratitude. Yeah. But
Along with that, it's, it's being conscientious of those thoughts, because you just keep giving into the thoughts and you're not aware that you're doing that.
mhm.
Then you cannot choose a better way, because you're so programmed, you're used to having them all the time.
Yeah.
So, praying for awareness. Father, make me aware. Make me aware of those thoughts that do not align with your thoughts for me, because just keep doing them the same way over and over. So awareness is something that we need to be aware, we need to have.
So good. Thank you, Father.
Anybody else? Kamal, I just know you have something to share. I can see it in your face. No pressure. Oh, otherwise,
Thank you. I'm still listening. For some hours now, I have been that presence of the fire. I think there is a lot of fire, so I'm still trying to cool down, to rest. Even before he came here, I've been seated even 1 hour before here, listening to some instructions that he have been giving me. But when I get something, when I get concrete something, I will share. So let me be quiet for now.
I love you guys.
yeah, I think anybody else has anything else to share. If not, then I think I'm just going to release the time to you, Gil. I
Right.
don't know where we are, but I think I don't sense anything else for me.
Well, and we can all stay engaged while we move on to next things. So if you get something and you want to share it, please do. The next phase would be Hadassah, you sharing whatever portion of your journey that we didn't cover in questions last week that you maybe want to just touch on a couple different things. But before you do that, maybe let's see, what can we ask? What other, we're going to be asking Kamal 7, each of us a question in after you share Hadassah. But I'm trying to think of something you can do because I need to take a quick break. I need to run to the restroom and come back. So while you guys chit chat or whatever you want to do, I'll be back in just a moment.
How you doing, Martha? You good?
I'm kind of surprised at how I feel like totally overreacted when I couldn't get on. Like,
Mhm.
to be that vulnerable is scary. Because I don't know if you guys saw when I came on and you were right away engaging, I was just crying.
Why were you crying?
I guess frustration.
Well, that's a way to release it. I cry when I'm frustrated. That's good. Just keep them coming. That's fine. You know, your body, your emotions need to be released, and that's one way to do it. So that's a good thing. I don't think it's a bad thing. Tears are great. Release your emotions. It's fine. Keep them coming. No condemnation there. Just okay.
It's
know?
kind of okay to be who you are.
That's fine.
Yeah. Just to say, well, I'm like that. I feel everything that happens to me, and it's okay. It's, you know, if you look at, I always said to my kids, if you're a bass guitar, you can handle far more hammering as an instrument than if you're a violin. A violin's strings are just far more sensitive than a bass guitar. And we're all built differently. And when you're a violin, don't try and be a bass guitar. And if you're a bass guitar, don't try and be a violin. It's okay to just love yourself the way you are.
Mhm. No shame in having tears. No,
Yeah.
no. It's part of being
Good.
human. Part of being human. That's
Good.
good.
Okay, well, Hadassah, you ready?
I just wanted a couple minutes to share some thoughts. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
I don't want to. I put some things down on paper so I can keep my thoughts in order. I felt that last week with all the questions, you pretty much, I think my personal life was pretty much covered. You know, my infancy and growing up and my family background. So I just felt that was pretty much expressed. So what I wanted to share this week, it's a little bit about where I live, about my city, and the diversity of ethnicities that I'm surrounded with. The reason for that was that a couple of you had questions about the different nationalities of my coworkers. And I personally found the diversity is very interesting and rich where I live. And that's the part I wanted to share a little bit more about. So what I wrote is, I often find myself pondering on the differences of ethnicity and culture because I'm surrounded by this reality every day. I talked a little bit about last week about the last church I attended. For more than 20 years, we had people from different countries. We had people from Africa, the different countries in Africa. We have people from Asia, Middle East, Latin America, Canada. For a long, long time, our worship leaders were from England, and I loved it. I loved the differences in people, different cultures, the different shapes, the different colors, the different accents. That was, that's Los Angeles. That's where I live. This is a very diverse city. I prefer not to be a part of a church where everybody looks the same, everybody's Mexican or everybody is white, because I feel that that's not a true representation of heaven. Heaven, no. So, that's my preference as far as being a community of diversity. And to be honest, I find it to be boring to be part of a church that everybody looks the same, sounds the same, eats the same thing. Here we go about food. So one of the things that our church had, it's something that it was an event that we had yearly, and it was called International Feast Festival, where we set up tables outside the church and we share our traditional foods from our countries. And it was so fun to do that. Here in Los Angeles, a lot of churches practice that. They have the International Day where everybody comes and shares, their meals and their food. And it brings unity. It brings, the word is tolerance, and I can't say it very well, but it's, you're different. And it's like, we live with each other here, so we have to learn to love each other and share the same space. So that's interesting. So let me see, there is so much more to learn about God in the diversity of his children, not only in the natural, but in the spiritual. So having said all that, I like to share with you what I like to do for recreation in my free time, or what I call my me time. Many of you know that I'm a caregiver. So when I walk into my patient's home, she lives by herself. It's all about her. I'm present. I'm totally present, 100%. Whatever she needs, at whatever level, emotionally, physically, on and on and on. So when I leave, I need to find ways to disconnect. I need to find ways to take care of me. So I wanted to just share a little bit of what I enjoy doing on my me time. And that's going to the beach. I enjoy the water a lot. I like to go to the mountains, lakes, beach, the ocean, hearing the waves, just very relaxing for me. Since I don't like sports or going to the movies, I never had, even when I was not a Christian, going to the movies is like, no, that's not me. So the other activity that I like to do besides outdoors, going to where the water is, I like to go out and eat. I like eating. Eating international foods and exotic foods. Why? Because I have them all around me. I live in a city where it's called Old Town Pasadena. I wrote something a little about that. But let me see. I live in the area called Old Town Pasadena. I'm only 4 blocks from the main boulevard, where there are shops, restaurants, movie theaters, We have a beautiful museum, historical landmarks. People here say Old Town Pasadena is the heart of the city. So I don't know if I want to be taking pictures like John has shared pictures of his community, but all I can take pictures is of the different shops, the different restaurants, the beautiful architecture of the city is original and very nicely kept up. Another event that happens here in Pasadena is the Rose Parade. A Rose Parade is something that happens on New Year's Day. I don't know how many of you are familiar with that,
Mhm.
but it's an 130-year tradition. It is a parade of floats decorated with live flowers and seeds of all types of, live flowers, plants, seeds, everything is live. And it's just beautiful floats that march down the main boulevard here for about 5.5 miles. They have marching bands from colleges and military that participate, and also from other countries that come from other countries with their bands, musical bands. And it's just a beautiful thing to do and parade, to participate and just to watch from the side walks on the street. And so going back to my me time, so what I like to, I like to go out and eat food. So let me give you an international food. So let me give you a little bit of idea what kind of foods I have around here in Old Town. So we have restaurants that have Greek food, Thai food, Indian food, Mediterranean food, Japanese food, Italian food, Peruvian from Peru. I used to like to go to Argentinian restaurants, but they eat a lot of meat. That's one of the main dishes. I stopped eating red meat while back, so I don't go there anymore, but I used to love the Argentinian food. I like to eat Jewish food, Chinese, Vietnamese food. As you can tell, I'm really into international culture and international food. So that's just, something that I just wanted to share with you, because these restaurants are like 3 blocks away from my house. Wanted to tell you about this last restaurant that I just discovered. And it was a restaurant that they had Indian, Tibet, and I don't remember the other country, but it's really, really exotic foods. So that's what I like to eat. I like to do on my spare time. Just wanted to share that a little bit about me, so you get to know me personally. The last thing I wanted to share was ministry goals, ministry ideas for the future. I do want to write a book or 2 in Espanol, and it's, my desire from the very beginning of joining this community, of what I call kingdom revelation. It's oneness and identity and ascension, because those are the things that I didn't hear talk about when I was in church, even though I attended a very prophetic, 5-fold ministry, what you would call, not a religious type of ministry in comparison to other places that don't even believe in speaking in tongues or casting out demons or the apostle, the prophetic, gifting, none of that, so, but still I was still in a religious, doctrine church, because they don't talk about oneness and identity. We still think of the person in front of the behind the pulpit in front of you and the platform, it's the anointed and the powerful leader. But what about me? What about the rest of us sitting in the pews? So that's, so when I came here, and I started learning about oneness and identity. I realized that orphan mentality was very much part of the church.
Mhm.
And and again, you don't know what you don't know until you walk away from it. That's how it happened. That's what happened to me. The Lord said to me, either you, no, he said to me, talk about choices. He said to me, he says, you can't have one foot in the old and one foot in the new. And I said, and I knew what he was talking about. It's like, yes, because I was still going to church. And I know many people still go to church, many people here in this group go to church. So I'm just sharing my personal walk, my personal experience. So it's not for everybody. But the Father said to me very clearly, you have to leave the old wineskins to walk into the new. And I said, I was ready. I was so ready. I was so ready to leave, and I was so ready to dive into it, go all the way in. That's just how I do things. I just go either. I can't do halfway stuff. I'm either in or I'm either out. Just that's my personality when it came to learning about this kingdom mindset and oneness and sonship. It was sonship. I never even had that word in my vocabulary after 30 years of Christianity. Sonship, what does that look like? I was so curious. So when I started listening to all of you people, forerunners, now I'm one of them, right? All of us are forerunners.
Mhm.
Mike and Justin and Gil and everybody is like, I wasn't listening to Nancy much back in the day because it was like, whoa, don't get it. Not going there for now. So anyway, that changed my life. That changed my life. And the Father said, you're going to talk about this in Espanol. And I want you to write a book. He said to me this last year. So I'd be still pondering it and learning, so I have notes here and there. Anyway, so just going forward, as far as, again, ministry is concerned, this is what God wants me to do. I'm very excited, looking forward to that, still learning, still growing. And I think that's all I want to share. Let's see what else. Let me just say a couple of other thoughts about that. When I first started learning about these new ways of kingdom, the Father said to me two things I needed to get very clear on. He helped me to understand that they were foundational things that I did not want, that he did not want me to move on to something else. The foundational teachings were identity and identity and the unconditional love of the Father. So I stay there, park there, don't go into learning the Hebrew letters, don't go into da 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 da. And I'm not saying that's wrong. I'm not saying anything bad about that. I'm just speaking again about where he has me. And I'm still there. I'm still learning about unconditional love for all, which was like, for all? Biden too, Lord? Really? No way. There's something wrong with you, Lord. Are you watching what I'm watching? I mean, it was a huge paradigm shift for me. And that's why I love Kingdom Talks, and I love the message that Gil and Adina have in their hearts and in the scroll. To transition people, this is how I see it, going a little bit about, this ministry, transitioning people from here religion, from church, to here, sonship, oneness, unconditional love, identity, kingdom thinking, and that's why I'm so grateful to the Lord, because I'm part of this community, because that's what He's put in my heart. Stay there, conditional love, and identity. And that's what I know He wants me to write a book, couple books maybe. But anyway, that's another story. But he's working on me on that because there's so many things that, as you know, whoever has written books, it's a whole different journey, especially you never wrote one in your life. Anyway, that's
Good.
it. I think that's all I wanted to share. That's about it. And bless you all.
Thank
For
you.
listening.
Thank you,
That's it.
Hadassah. But if you're okay, I'd like to give everybody opportunity to maybe ask some questions if they have any questions from what you just shared. Anybody have any questions? Good for now?
The other
Okay.
thing, just another fun thing I want to say, I want to get married. I still believe there's a man out there for me. Just as a fun detail. Just wanted to share
Yeah.
that.
Well, what's interesting is, I've known you for quite a while now, and last week and this week, it's the first time I've ever heard you say that. And I'm like, okay, well, you probably need to continue to confess that. And yes, make it known. All right.
Just
Well-
saying.
Go ahead, Liz.
A question, Hadassah.
Yes.
Would you
yes.
go on a blind date?
Would I go on a blind date?
Mhm.
Absolutely, go on a blind date. You have one for me? Of course, all of it through prayer, but yeah, that's an interesting question from another single woman. So maybe there's something there about you want to share with us. Anyway, yeah, I will.
But seriously though, I'm thinking, Pasadena is in LA
Yes.
and Hollywood is in LA.
Mhm.
Who?
Hollywood.
Hollywood.
Yes, it is. Where
How
do
do
you?
you live in LA and not love movies?
That's a good question. Join me. You and I
It
just go up there
doesn't.
to heaven. Ask him what's up with that, Lord. And tell me, and trust me, I don't have a list. I used to, maybe 10, 15 years ago, but I don't have, the only list that I have now is Father, a man with kingdom mindset, a man that knows who he is in you and loves you more than he would ever love me. That's my only request. Oh, no. A big request is bilingual. Gotta speak Spanish.
Yeah, is this a
So-
thing where we would just wait a few more seconds and then there's one more thing?
No. That's it.
Keep adding. No, I like just if, which I hope I never ever have to, but if I had to do it all over again, that I would just let God bring the right person and let the chips kind of fall where they may, and just trust that he's got the right person to iron sharpening iron. I'll say that versus other ways of saying it, but there's always those challenges. But yeah, so good thing to know. Thank you, Hadassah. Well, Kamal, you ready to be questioned?
I don't think someone can be ready, but here I am.
Okay. All right. Well, and then the other thing, let's do the questions first, and then you get to pick somebody who's going to go next week.
Okay.
That'll be questioned next week. So when you share the rest of your story, I like that. We got the Paul Harvey, the rest of the story. How many of you raise your hand if you know who Paul Harvey is? All the Canadian and Americans are the ones who know who Paul Harvey is. He's passed, but he always had the rest of the story. So, all right, who's going to go first with questions? I think John's going for it. Go ahead, John.
Kamal, how many brothers and sisters do you have?
I have two brothers. I don't have a sister.
Oh,
We
yeah.
are born three gentlemen. Yes.
So what kind of, did you grow up in a Christian home or did you become a Christian later in life?
Yeah, I grew up in a Christian home, so yes. So my parents' background, and also I can say the background in Christianity, is an Anglican, but everywhere there, there is that the protocol and the procedure of everything. But when I observed my parents, they also walked a different path than the rest of the Anglicans, such that we could be taught to pray. Praying in tongues to us in Anglican is not prayed. People don't pray in tongues. But for us, yeah, people can pray in tongues because we live in a small village, a small town where there were night vigils, most on Fridays, where people from different churches, Pentecostals, charismatic, the mainstream churches, they could come together and pray as led by the Spirit. So I have seen both. I have been maybe family where people are prayerful, being the church doctrines. Yeah.
Good, good. Okay, who's next?
Kamal, how did you meet your wife?
Oh, okay.
It looks like you're looking over to see if she's listening.
But she is in the next room. Okay.
Oh, and
well,
she
when
can,
she comes in, I'll make sure. I'll make sure you meet her. Just a minute. Just.
Yes, that would be great. I'd love that.
often we have different of how we met each other.
Next, you see him dragging her into the picture.
Come for a swim with me.
I was reading a book by Sheryl Sandberg. She's the COO of Facebook, and she lost her husband, and she was giving all these things about what you can't do when you don't have your husband anymore. One was share how you met, and I thought, that's crazy. Of course you can still share how you met even when they're gone. Sorry, Kamal, I was just talking while you were gone.
All right, go ahead, Kamal.
Okay. Yes, here she is.
There she is. Hello.
Yes.
Hello.
Yeah.
And what is your name?
Rose Kamau.
Rose Kamal.
Yes.
Oh,
Hello, Rose.
I
Nice
wrote-
to
Hi.
meet
nice to meet you.
you.
So how did you two meet? That was Martha's question.
Oh, that looks so naughty.
Okay. We met on her in 2010. I think it was in the month of August. So, can I recall the specific dates? The specific date I can't recall. And I was in college, my third year and the final year in the college. So, and it happened when I was in college, I also participated in CU, that is Christian Union activities, and people we have gone out to evangelize. And the area that we went to evangelize just so happened to come from the neighboring area to that place. And the church that have hosted us is the church that she used to attend. So we met with her in a mission ground. So yeah, evangelizing. That was back in 2010.
So I didn't quite catch that last part.
Which was the last statement that you got?
There, whatever you did, I can hear you a lot better now.
Yes.
So just please go ahead and share it again, because it was hard to hear.
Okay, I said we met with Rose year 2010. Did you get that? So, and I was invited to a mission where we went to do evangelism. So she also was invited in the same mission in evangelism. So that's where we met in year 2010.
Now, with
Yeah.
all the giggling and laughing that you two went through, there seems to be something that you're leaving out.
Yes.
I think you are the first people to have ever asked us that question.
Oh, really?
Yes, so that's why we are laughing, and we have rarely been asked that question. But I think we're in the season where people are asking us, maybe reasoners. They're in a process of what we can call Solomonization of marriage. So which will take place in 2nd September, Saturday of the 2nd September. Maybe for one to understand quickly, it's like a wedding ceremony, but now for us it's solemnization of marriage and also legitimization, putting things in order and records. Yeah. So that's where we are. So that's why we are looking at each other and laughing, because we know which process we are in.
Okay.
Now, yes.
Okay. And you have how many children? I guess that's my question. Sorry, I just butted in. How many children do you have?
We have 3 girls.
3 girls. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
you said that before, but I don't know if you said it here, so everybody gets to hear that. 3 girls. How old are they? I'm sorry, I'll add that in and then I'll be quiet.
Yeah, the first one is 8 years, the second one is 3 years, 7 months, the third one is 1 year, 10 months. Yes.
Wow. Awesome. Awesome. All right. Who's next?
I'd like to know, Kamal, when did you have your first personal experience with Father, Holy Spirit, Jesus?
Maybe I can start with the first personal experience with it starts with the Holy Spirit. It was around when I was about 9 years old. So growing up in a Christian family, so we could be taught to pray. And then that's when I said, okay, I want to get born again. That is that time. But then it have also been progressive. I think from one ankle deep to other. So I can give maybe different seasons in my life where I found the Lord either take me deeper and deeper. So it have been progressive. So I can remember when the first good encounter is when I said I want to be born again. I was young then, started to pray. I think I spoke in tongues when I was around 10 years back, but I didn't go for long. And then when I was a teenager, then I became a bit lukewarm. After I did my secondary school, I stayed for some times and then I went deep again. That's when I also experienced the fire of God. Then up to around year 2010, I was moving, praying and seeking God. But something happened in my spirit around year 2010, 2011, where the push and the fire that I was with, I felt something just being lifted up. But later on in year 2017, I just had another divine reawakening, and that's when I around year 2017, 2018. I'll try to recall the specific year which it was. Yes, but okay.
Sorry, did that distract you, Kamal?
Okay, 2018, that's when I had an encounter with Yeshua, and this is where I was sharing with Jill when he was sharing about the perfect self. And when Jesus came to me, it was so profound encounter. We had a conversation with him. Okay, I had had other previous encounters before, but around 2017, 2018, I had an encounter and Jesus took me. Okay, first I saw a star, like the star that the Magi saw, and I was looking at it. And when I was looking at that star, then it went and it is stopped on the top of a mountain. And the mountain was looking like a Christmas tree. So, and I looked. And there at the bottom of the mountain, there were animals like from the cat family. And I was there with Jesus. There's something that I was so praying so much about Jesus concerning my firstborn daughter and my lineage. So Jesus did some operation in me and he told me, now it is well with your daughter. And then he told me, look up. So I looked and then I saw a throne and it was a lot of glory and all that. So when I was there with Jesus and Jesus asked me, who should be seated there? So let me say my religious mindset then told me, Jesus, you are worthy. So if you are worthy, you're the one who's supposed to rule and reign and to be seated there. And he told me no. So when he told me no in that encounter, it was a vision. Then I looked keenly, let me see who is seated there. And then coming from a religious mindset, I think that time was dealing so much to my religious mindset. I thought, if it's not Jesus who is supposed to be seated there, who is better than him? Then it's the Father. Then I said, it's the Father who should be seated there. So I looked keenly and to see the face of the Father, because we are told we can't see the face of the Father. And I saw the face. Now, what now surprised me, and when I came from that encounter, is that and I'm sharing this, still reminded another encounter I had at my home background, which is an Anglican church. I was praying there alone in the church, kneeling down, and the Lord came to speak to me, and he spoke to me using the scriptures in the Bible, where I wondered, am I in the Bible? So that's maybe a story for another day, but let me finish this encounter. So I looked keenly to see the face of the one who is seated there, and when I looked so keenly, I saw my face, I saw myself. So,
So good.
when I came from that encounter, I could not really connect it was me seated there.
Yeah.
But now, later on, I started now to understand maybe it was the Lord who was calling me to send her and go high into the mountain. The other thing, when now last year we were in the ultimate impact, and you shared about the perfect self. I said, oh my, it was my perfect self seated up there on the mountain. So maybe for a wrong, from since then, maybe the Father have been helping me engage the perfect self, but not knowing the perfect self I'm engaging, because mostly the gift the Father have graced me now, and which I find myself using, is discernment. But I also saw maybe here and there some visions there, but the Father have graced me with the gift of discernment. So, and by so doing, I came to understand. So I've been engaging my perfect self. So that maybe is a short story of then few encounters I've had with the Father that are so much profound. Yes.
So good, Kamal. Good question, Marilee. All right. Well, who is next?
I have a question. I'm trying to think. I just got it now. So I keep thinking, what can I ask? What can I ask? I don't know how to phrase it, but it has to do with your future, Kamal. How do you see yourself? Oh, no, not how, but I guess the question would be, what are the desires of your heart? Or what have Father spoken to you for the future? And in regard, you can, I don't know if you work, how how do you support yourself. But it could be either way, your business or your work, future, or your ministry, or both, however you want to answer that.
Okay. I can start by saying this. For about now, I can say specific about now the past 2 years, I have not lived in any salary because the Father called me to full-time ministry. So this is what I do, and this is how we sustain ourselves by ministering and by ministry, because the Father called us into it. And I think when we go the process of the Father, some of the mindset of how my desire, the Father have really worked on me on that area. But my desire and in my future is that as the Father helped me to grow in ministry and ministering, is to see more people, first with where I am, maybe in the nation and mostly the jurisdiction the Father have given me is Africa, is to bring more people in realization of what the Father is doing now with the sons. So where I stand, even in this nation, some of things that I share, not many people who really share that. So ministry-wise, to me, I see in Africa and in the rest of the world where sons are arising and stepping in their governmental authority positions with the Father in the heavenlies and Yeshua HaMashiach, and transform. Sometimes we for those that are around me, we keep saying that maybe Africa is poor, things like this, the wealth is being taken out, it's been taken to the West or to the Europe or to China and all that. People complain that a lot. Even some people, they are Christians, and when they are speaking, they might speak, no, the problem is with America causing problems in Africa, problems are in Canada, problems are in G8 or UN. But the Father helped me to understand this. That is not where the problem is. The problem is we lack sons who can stand in their positions, in their mountains, and rule and reign with Christ. So
Amen.
to me, there is a problem in this nation, Kenya. Even sometimes the Father tells me, what is the problem? And tells me, there is no problem. The problem is we don't have sons working what needs to be worked out. And that is the path the Father have called me into, such that we don't live a life of blaming others. Like now, it is because we are with high in Kenya. People are complaining maybe about economy, things are tough. I haven't uttered with my mouth that the economy is tough, so things are tough. So that's why things are not working. And anytime I find maybe a hard situation, Father graces her we step with my wife in the presence of the Father, and we work out things with the Father. And if there's something that was not working, it starts to work out. So for us, we can't stand where and we blame the economy. Unless we step either in the courts of heaven, are the accusations against us. Father, is there an instruction you have given us that we have not done, and that's why things are not working? And the Father tells us, this is what that is not working, so fix it. And when we fix it, things work. So even at a country level and at a continental level, let me say this, the problem is not with G8, the problem is not with UN, the problem is not with USA, the problem is in Africa that we do not have sons who have come into the light as we are, and that's where things are. So that maybe I have shared part of the heart the Father have given me when it comes to Ekklesia and as coming as family and ruling and reigning with Christ. Yes.
Love it. Yes. So
Yeah,
you
thank
mean
you.
Biden is not the problem? Oh, hey, it's me. Oh, okay, got it. Come out. Got it.
Yes.
So good. So good. All right. I want, while Rose is there, can I just share a question that I think Diane might have wanted to ask? So I'm just curious, Rose, what is the funniest thing that you've ever seen Kamau do? I mean, I have to take advantage of the opportunity that is here.
You know?
Is it that idea? Well, okay. For me, actually, I've lived with a man who I see the seriousness of a being. So for the first time I saw Kamau dance, that's the funniest thing I can remember.
Okay, that's worth it. That was worth. Now, I'm sure, now Adina and I, neither one of us can dance. So, I mean, we could probably say the same about each other, but I love that. That's great. Because, Kamal's just always got this presentation about himself that is so professional and so, I just, now I got to see you dance, Kamal. So next time I'm over there.
You should come for the wedding. He has to dance at the wedding.
No,
Oh,
don't have to.
really?
Yeah.
We don't
Okay.
have
Very
to wait.
dignified, Gil.
We don't have to
Kamal's-
wait until you, let me just say, you don't have to wait until you're over there, Gil. Come out, just make a video and put it on the Telegram. Everybody can see how you can dance. That's it.
And then,
Oh,
and then,
that's it.
and Rose, the beautiful thing is if Kamal doesn't want to do it, you can do it for him.
I'm not. Anyway.
Yeah, Kamal's very dignified.
Okay.
Very dignified.
Yes.
Can I
I
share a
think
short?
that is part of me where most people don't know that sometimes I can choose just to be happy, enjoy. Okay, it happened. I was sharing, and when we share and teach, I happened to teach about mountains, and I started by taking people first in the different mountains. So there's the mountain of celebration, and I told them, this is from the Father, so people should be happy. People should be this. So we did some registrations on the mountain, and it happened. A very close brother of mine, a friend, and he had a wedding, so we had to go and to be in the wedding. So when I entered there, there's this seriousness. If you're a person who come from, let me say, registrating, being in the courts, very serious, articulate to this. And when I was there, maybe engaging the court system or being in that place of seriousness. And then the Holy Spirit spoke to me, okay, you know where you are? You're in a wedding. So engage the mountain of celebration. So I left the governmental mountains or the religious mountains or whichever other mountain that I operate in. And I chose to engage the mountain of celebration when I was there. And when I engaged the mountain of celebration, so something lifted in my spirit. So when it happened in the wedding, there was this game that one has to pass the bottle, the soda bottle. So the one who is, when they say stop, if it stops on your press, then you have to go. So it is stopped in my press twice. So I had to go out and then dance. So that people that we were with thought that I could go there and dance. So they told us now dance. So, and did my best. I danced. Okay. I can't say that I come from a place where we are dancers, but I had chosen in my spirit and in my heart to dance that day because we're in the mountain of celebration. So I have to dance. So I did that. So I think when I did that, it was her first time to see me dance. For the number of years that we have stayed with her, she never thought I could do that.
I love it. I love it. Love it. Love it. And just a short little story real quick is that I've not been a dancer. I can't dance. And when I see my perfected self in the heavens, my perfected self is usually always this very stoic figure. And somehow I don't remember what it was, but the conversation about dancing and being free came up. And in the heavens, I saw my perfected self. He's walking away from me, but he knows the conversation. And he does this like John Travolta little jig real quick and then just keeps walking. And I was so embarrassed. I mean, this me was so embarrassed, but it showed me some things, trigger points. It's like, okay, I'm gonna have to work on that.
Yeah, I remember one of the things that we keep laughing with my wife, I shared with her. There is a session that we are in Ultimate Impact. We shared about is that Jesus having rhetoric like Bob Marley. So I remember sharing with my wife. And then there was an engagement we did, I think, for America. And one of the seers, that was Caesar from our group, she said, Jesus is singing like a Rastafarian. And I really connected with what he has said. So sometimes there is the way we approach things. And then when the Lord is showing us a certain aspect, he's telling us, you're missing that.
Hmm.
And most of us, if we are so serious or something, sometimes from engaging the perfect self, I keep telling people, if you see a certain character in your perfected self that you do not have, you have been told you are missing this. This is part of this part that you should be having in your life, perfected, but you're missing it. Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
So good. All right, Liz, you're up.
I didn't get to ask my question, so
Yes.
I don't know who's going to answer this, Rose or Kamau. Maybe Rose should answer first, then Kamau. But Kamau, what gets you annoyed?
Good question.
So Rose, you can answer first.
Hey, what have ever made me annoyed? Okay, I think to me, what have ever made me so much annoyed is when I've tried to live a life and be genuine in everything that I do. That if I tell you A is A, I don't mean it is B. So when someone tries to misjudge my intention and motive, I get so sometimes back, I get so much annoyed. I remember there's a time I shared here, I'm dealing with the emotional triggers. So I think those were some of things that would really annoy me, or someone tried to come and question me what I'm doing, and I'm here giving my best, and then someone trying to show me that what I'm doing is wrong. So that also used to make me annoyed. So I think that is where I found myself so much annoyed, but it's something that the Father leads for some time. I've worked on emotional triggers. So maybe something that made me annoyed last year could not annoy me today, unless now something else has been awakened in me that I have to deal with. Yes.
Good. Good. Okay. Well, that's good. So Kamal, next week, be ready to fill in the rest of the story, pieces that you want us to hear and understand. Again, it's about getting to know you. And what I loved about today is the fun of getting to ask you some things that made everybody laugh. We get to see another side of you. That was worth it. That was so good. Really fun. So next week, share with us the rest of the story that you want to share. And I think we were saying about 30 minutes is what we were talking about, that we each try to keep it within 30 minutes, something like that. And so who would you like to go next week?
Mother.
Martha. All right. So Martha, next week, you're going to get 7 questions.
I kind of knew you were going to pick me, Kamal. I just knew it.
So Martha,
And I have something to say. I was supposed to put a question on Telegram every week for people to answer, and I did, and not one person answered it.
what was it? I don't remember it.
That's what I'm saying. Not a single person answered it. The question was, what kind of trophy would you like to win?
I don't think, well, I'm not questioning that you put it on there, but I, for whatever reason, did not see it. So let's go with that one for this week. And can you place it back up there again?
Marilee, did you see it?
I saw it, guilty as charged. I forgot.
No, I'm glad you said you saw it, because that way at least it proves I posted it.
Yeah.
Okay, so post it again, and all of us now, we're aware that that's the question that's coming up. So please, everyone answer that question. And I'm going to ask Martha that you do the truth and lie.
No.
You don't want to do that one?
Oh,
It's okay. I'm not, you're not being forced to. The only reason I was
Well,
thinking it would be best to do it before we
I
get to 7
know it
questions.
would be,
is
it
that-
would be good for the person. I totally get that. And I have definitely come up with 3 truths in my mind, but it's the lie that because I'm with you, Kamal. Kamal, when you said you get triggered when people don't question, like, anyway, from what you shared, Kamal, I heard that honesty is very important to you. It is to me too. For years, I said punctuality is one of my top 5 values. And then I started, okay, what are my other values? And then I realized honesty, laughter, etc. But yeah, so it's really hard to come up with a lie, but oh shoot.
Oh, also to me, I've had a hard time coming up with one.
Maybe Rose can help you.
That's a good idea. Yes, instead of me being next, because Kamal hasn't done his 3 truths and a lie.
Well, I would ask both of you to do it so that we could kind of get caught up and then have each person do it before they actually get their 7 questions. And all that is it gives us an opportunity to kind of think about, okay, what do you think of this person? And what do you think they've actually done versus not done? Now, I gave you a bunch of cruddy ones in my life. John gave you a bunch of kind of honorable ones. You can choose whatever you want. And maybe the one thing that you'd say a lie, just say it's not a truth, but maybe it's something that you want to do, but you haven't done yet. So then it's not necessarily a lie, but it's something you want to do.
Can I ask a question about I wasn't the night you discussed this. I don't think I've listened to that one yet. What kind of truths and lies are we talking about? Is it doing stuff? Is it stuff we've done? Is it physical doing outward stuff?
It basically is just 3 truths about yourself. Normally it's 2, but we're doing 3. 3 truths about yourself, and then one that is not true, but people might think it is true.
It is true.
Or just it could be something maybe you want to do. I'm guessing John would probably still like to go skydiving, but that was his one that was not a true one. Mine were, like I said, mine were all just sharing with you some of my background of where I came from, and so that's, you get to know a little bit about what a scoundrel I was.
So which one was the lie on yours, Gil?
Oh, it was the bomb in the teacher's desk.
But it was not far-fetched, FYI.
Yes, it was not far off. But yeah, I've actually gone and tried to contact anybody that I've hurt in the past, and I even stole some things from the school. I said I didn't, but I guess I did steal some things from the school, and I went back years later and just paid them money for the value of the things that I took. I took 9 baseballs. And so years later, I went back and confessed and gave them money for I think I gave them $120 for the 9 baseballs.
What did you do with the balls?
I was into sports and stuff. And so I used them until they were no good. So. Yeah. So go ahead, John.
The part that I love.
Say that again.
Oh, the part that I think, but when your time of question comes is money making. That's for another day. Yeah.
The money making.
Yes. Yeah.
And you've heard me tell the story though, right? I think all of you have heard me tell that story at some point.
I have heard it. It really intrigued me.
Yeah, well, that was probably the biggest thing that potentially had the potential to put me in jail. Actually, there were a lot of things that could have put me in jail. That one just could have put me in jail a lot longer. Yeah. So the father, I mean, had extreme mercy on me because it never went into my records, never showed up. It doesn't show up today. But I mean, I could give you all kinds of names of people who knew what we did, and there to prove that yes, I did that. And so it's something that is literally just a grace of God that was a blessing to me. So,
Thanks.
yeah. Yes, John.
So when I made up my questions, I decided I would use the word fabricate, make it up. So that's what you can make something up.
3 truths and a fabrication.
Or a makeup. I just made that.
Or make it up, or pretend.
But the other thing I want to share, if it's okay, to change the subject a little bit, is during the ascension, I was feeling a lot of sadness because of what has happened in Lahaina in Hawaii. It's a place where we spent a lot of time, and that fire took out 36 people that died in that fire. It burnt most of the restaurants that we spent time in, and the people there just losing their livelihood and a big chunk of their ability to serve the tourist industry that is very big there in that area. So I was just feeling their loss. And I guess I feel lost too, because of the memories that were made there with my kids and with my wife and my wife's extended family. Like we used to go there every Christmas, every second Christmas to that area. We didn't stay there, but we visited there often. That's where we went for dinners and lunches and did a lot of shopping there. So that place is totally gone. Like when I heard news yesterday, like the one fellow, they interviewed this one guy and he says, I was the last one that jumped into the ocean to get away from the fire. That's how quick it came upon them.
Wow. Wow.
So that's why I've been pretty quiet today.
Well, sorry for your loss in that. And just Father, we just pray for the healing of the hearts, and I mean everybody that's on here right now, that whatever thing that we may be challenged with, that we can take that, and I actually see it in the heavens. I see us wrapping things as precious gifts, things that were precious to us, loved ones, and the memories and so forth, that we wrap up and we lay them at the feet of the Father, knowing that He has our best in mind, and that we truly will move forward in strength and in a new level of love, even though these tragedies have touched our lives. And we thank you, Father, that we can trust you with this.
Amen. Amen.
Mhm.
Lord, I pray that you would wrap your arms around all the people that lost their homes and livelihood in that fire, and those who lost their children, loved ones. I pray that Holy Spirit, you would comfort them and show them your unconditional love of the Father to them, that they would know that you are with them. You went through the fire with them. You were there when they died in that fire. You have them now in your hands.
Thank you, Father. All right. Well, if there's not anything else,
I'll say one more thing. So come
Okay.
out, you can do your 3 truths and fabrication for this coming week. I won't put mine because I don't want your questions next week to be influenced by what I would put there, because the minute this question was put out there, the very first thing that came to my mind to say is so intense that I don't want to bring it up. I don't know if I want to bring it up at all, but for sure not until after you guys ask me your questions. So maybe the following week I'll think about it. Because I mean, I have to think about how vulnerable do I want to be, right?
Mhm, mhm. What I'm loving about this is the diversity of where we're all at. Because for me, I've gone through phases of my walk with the Father where in my purity and in that season, I would have had a hard time with the idea of a lie or something of that nature as well. But I feel free knowing that it's not a truth, and I'm not lying to deceive anybody. We're doing a game to help you get to know me. But wherever you stand, it's okay. And again, the diversity helps us each learn how to get along and love each, one another, even in our different places. And whether that place is in the same place where you are, that part's irrelevant. What's relevant is, are you able to love them where they're at and not feel like they've got to change, not feel like they've got to be where you're at, but just to love them, and we carry on side by side together. It's beautiful.
Yeah, and my struggle is the first thing that came to my mind. Like I said, it's so intense that I'm still struggling with whether I'm going to put it out there or not.
Okay, well, you've got another week to think about it. Well, actually, you got as much time as you want, but all right. Well, love you guys. And so Kamal, are you willing to put those out there for us to kind of guess now that we've learned a little bit about you? You don't have to.
Okay, yeah, I will I'll put out there and see.
Okay. I look forward to seeing it, and I guess the other thing is it gives us 3 truths about you that we didn't know already. And so we get to learn those, and that's part of the game, is just learning the truth, some truths about you that we would be like shocked maybe or surprised that those are things that are that you've done or you've thought or whatever. So, all right.
I just thought of something. Says you could, people have their bucket lists. You could make a bucket list of everything that you've wanted to do, and some of them could be that you've done already. And we can guess, well, which ones has he done already and which ones hasn't he done?
Excellent, John. I like that.
Well, there's no lie there then.
There you go. There you go. All right. So yeah, you can do a partially fulfilled bucket list for us. All right. Love you all. I'm gonna sign off. I got a call coming up here I need to get ready for. So I look forward to seeing you all next week, and I look forward to the question again, Martha. And hopefully we'll all see that and answer it this time. Sorry about that for not answering it. Yeah. Love you guys.
Bye, guys.
Love you.
Bye.
Take care. See you later. Bye-bye.